1917. A man walks into the United States Congress and presents a plan, not a military plan, a psychological one. His name is Edward Bernays. His uncle is Sigmund Freud. And what he tells them changes everything. You don't control people with force, he says. You control them with perception. They listened. Here's what perception management looks like in practice. You take a population of millions, intelligent people, curious people, people who ask questions, and you build a filter. A filter so total, so seamless, that they never even notice it's there. Everything they see, everything they read, everything they hear about the world outside their window passes through that filter first, shaped, selected, angled, and then handed to them as reality. That filter has a name, 6 names actually, 6 corporations. Between them, they own what you watch before work, what you scroll through at lunch, what plays in the background while you make dinner. Not some of it, almost all of it. And their job title says media company, but their actual job is something else entirely. So how do you keep hundreds of millions of people from asking too many questions? You keep them afraid. Not once, not occasionally, constantly. You make fear the background noise of everyday life. Something is always threatening them. Something is always about to collapse. Something is always coming for their family, their job, their safety, their future. It never stops, because the moment it stops, people exhale. And when people exhale, they start to think. And thinking is the one thing the system cannot afford. Because a thinking population wants answers. A thinking population traces problems back to their source. A thinking population eventually looks up and asks, who built this and who benefits from it? Fear prevents that question every single time. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries before television existed. He wrote that men must be either pampered or crushed. Keep them comfortable enough not to revolt. Keep them scared enough not to organize. And you can rule indefinitely. They pamper you with convenience. They crush you with anxiety. And in that space between the two, they govern you without you ever noticing you're being governed. Now watch what happens when fear alone isn't enough. They add the second ingredient, an enemy. Not a real enemy necessarily, just a direction to point you, someone to blame for the thing that's making your life smaller. Someone who looks different, votes different, prays different, lives different, and suddenly the anger you had about your situation has a target, a horizontal target, someone on your level. Someone as powerless as you are, while the people who actually built the conditions you're both suffering and watch from a comfortable distance and call it polarization like it's a weather event, like it just happened, like nobody engineered it. They engineered it. Machiavelli called the method divide and rule. He presented it as strategy. They adopted it as infrastructure. And here's the truly sophisticated part. They don't force the division on you. They offer it to you as identity, as community, as the feeling of belonging to something and standing against something. And that feeling is real. The anger is real. The loyalty is real. The only thing that isn't real is the idea that the person across the divide is your actual problem. Your actual problem has a corner office. Your actual problem has a lobbying budget. Your actual problem hasn't thought about you once. But you're not looking at your actual problem. You're looking where they pointed you. Machiavelli wrote that the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Look at who runs the information. Look at who owns the platforms. Look at who decides what trends and what disappears. That tells you everything about who the system is actually designed to serve. And it was never designed to serve you. The uncomfortable truth is that none of this requires conspiracy. It doesn't need shadowy meetings or secret handshakes. It just needs incentives. And the incentives are perfectly aligned. Frightened audiences watch longer. Angry audiences share more. Divided audiences never unite against the people profiting from the division. The system produces fear and outrage the same way a factory produces exhaust. Not because anyone planned it, because that's what the machine runs on. So what do you do with that? You start watching the frame instead of the picture. Every story has an angle. Every headline has an author. Every crisis that dominates your attention for a week has something happening behind it that nobody is covering. The noise is never random. The volume is never neutral. Someone chose this. Someone chose the timing. Someone chose the words. And someone chose what you won't hear about today because you're too busy processing this. Machiavelli wrote that everyone sees what you appear. Crisis, redirect, divide, exhaust. That's the cycle. That's been the cycle your entire life. You just didn't have a name for it. Think about every moment of real accountability you've witnessed. Every time something happened that should have led somewhere, evidence surfaced, a name emerged, a document leaked, something that should have changed things. Think about what happened the following week. Something else appeared, something louder, something that split people down the middle and swallowed every conversation whole. And the original story just quietly stopped existing, not because it resolved, because something more useful came along to replace it. They don't erase the truth, they drown it. And the drowning is so consistent, so rhythmic, so perfectly timed that calling it coincidence requires a kind of willful blindness that most people have simply been trained into. Because here's the thing about training. It doesn't feel like training. It feels like life. It feels like just the way things are. You wake up, you check the news, you feel afraid or angry or both. You go about your day carrying that weight. You check again before bed. And it feels normal because you've done it every day since you were old enough to hold a phone. But normal and natural are not the same thing. That rhythm was designed. That cycle was built. The anxiety you carry around is not an accident of living in complicated times. It is the intended output of a system that requires your anxiety to function. A calm population is expensive. A calm population thinks slowly, reads carefully, asks questions that take time to answer, demands accountability in places that accountability is inconvenient. An anxious population is cheap. An anxious population reacts, clicks, shares, consumes, argues with its neighbors, and never gets around to looking at who built the conditions they're all suffering in together. So they keep you anxious, permanently, professionally, at industrial scale. And the most sophisticated part is that they give you the anxiety and then sell you the relief. The same channels that spend all day telling you the world is on fire will sell you a meditation app in the ad break. The same platforms engineering your outrage will offer you a premium subscription to see less of it. The same system producing the disease is selling you the treatment. And you pay for both because you don't realize they're connected, because the connection was never something they were going to point out. Here's what they understand about human beings that most human beings don't understand about themselves. People don't remember information. They remember feelings. You won't remember the specific story they ran on a Tuesday 3 years ago, but you'll remember how unsafe you felt that week. You'll carry that feeling forward. You'll make decisions based on it. You'll vote based on it. You'll support policies based on it. Policies you never fully read, about threats you never fully verified. Push through on the energy of a feeling that was manufactured for exactly that purpose. That's not politics. That's engineering. And you have been the subject of that engineering every single day of your adult life. So what does it actually look like to step outside of it? It looks boring at first. It looks like nothing is happening. Because you've been so habituated to the volume, to the pace, to the constant stream of things to react to, that silence feels like absence, feels like you're missing something, feels like the world is moving and you're standing still. But you're not missing anything. You're finally still enough to see what was always there underneath the noise. The noise was the point. The noise was the product. The noise was the thing standing between you and the questions that actually matter. Who built the system you're living inside? Who benefits when it stays exactly as it is? Who loses if you start asking that question out loud and don't stop? Those questions don't trend. They don't go viral. Nobody is going to push them to the top of your feed. You have to go looking for them yourself. And that's the whole design. Make the important things hard to find. Make the distracting things impossible to avoid. And then let human nature do the rest. Because most people will take the path of least resistance. Most people will consume what's in front of them and feel what they're supposed to feel, and never quite get around to asking why this and not something else. Most people, but not everyone. And it only takes enough people deciding to see the frame for the frame to become visible to everyone else. That's the only thing this system was never built to handle. Not your anger. Your anger has a designated container. Not your sadness. Your sadness has a monetization strategy. Your refusal. Your quiet, consistent, unspectacular refusal to let someone else decide what is real. That's the thing they have no answer for. The way out is one question. Why this? Why now? Who benefits from me knowing this today and not knowing something else? That's it. That's the whole playbook flipped back on itself. Not a movement, not a revolution. Just a question. Asked every single time. Every headline. Every crisis. Everything they're pointing you at right now. Who chose this? Who benefits from your attention being here and not somewhere else? What is happening in the silence behind the noise? Because the noise is never accidental. The volume is never neutral. Someone decided what you would think about this week. Someone at the top of a pyramid you will never see the top of. Someone with a budget larger than most countries. Someone who has never once thought about you except as a number on a spreadsheet, a unit of attention, a revenue stream with a heartbeat. The script was written before you were born. The roles were assigned before you could read. The game was rigged before you sat down at the table. And the worst part, the part that should keep you up at night, is that the people running it don't even have to coordinate anymore. They don't need to call each other. They don't need secret meetings. The system runs itself now. The incentives are so perfectly aligned that fear and division and outrage just produce themselves automatically, like a machine that learned to feed itself, like a pyramid that builds its own next layer. 6 corporations, 1 script, endless players who think they're free. And the controllers at the top don't look like villains. That's the genius of it. They look like businessmen, like executives, like people making rational decisions in a competitive market. And they are. That's exactly what makes it so total, so inescapable. Nobody had to choose evil. The system just rewards it so consistently that evil became the rational choice. Fear sells. Division sells. Outrage sells. And the money flows upward. Always upward. The pyramid doesn't hide that. It never had to. Because the pyramid also controls what you think about the pyramid. Ask the question enough times and something starts to happen. The architecture becomes visible. You start to see the frame around the picture before you see the picture. You start to feel the selection before you consume what was selected. You start to notice the angle before you notice the story. And once you can see it, you cannot unsee it. The frame is there forever. Every broadcast, every alert. Every breaking news chyron running across the bottom of a screen, owned by someone whose name you will never know. You see the construction before you see the content. You see the hand before you see what it's pointing at. And what it's always pointing at is away from itself. The game was rigged from the start. The controllers wrote the rules. The money flows one direction. The pyramid was built on your attention and your fear and your outrage and your division and every minute you spent fighting someone on your level instead of looking up. That's not a conspiracy. That's just how power works, how it has always worked, how it will keep working until enough people stop playing the game they were handed and start asking who designed it and why, and who wins when it runs exactly as intended. Not your anger. They have containers for your anger, not your sadness. They have revenue models for your sadness, not your outrage. Your outrage is the fuel. Your outrage is what keeps the machine warm. What they have no answer for is your clarity. A mind that sees the script and refuses to perform it. A mind that sees the frame and refuses to be managed by what's inside it. A mind that looks at the pyramid and traces the money all the way to the top and keeps looking even when what it finds up there is uncomfortable, even when it implicates things you believed in, even when it means the game you thought you were winning was never a game you could win. The machine only works when it runs unexamined. The script only holds when nobody reads it out loud. The pyramid only stands when everyone at the bottom keeps looking sideways instead of up. So look up and don't stop looking. The game wasn't designed for you to win. You were designed to play it, to stay in your lane, to look where they pointed, to feel what they needed you to feel, to fight who they need you to fight, to consume and react and consume again until there was nothing left of you but a number on a spreadsheet and a vote they already predicted. That was the plan, and it worked. But you're still here, still watching, still asking the question. They spent everything trying to make sure you never thought to ask. That matters more than they want you to know, because the machine is only invincible until people can see it. The script is only powerful until people can read it. The pyramid is only stable until enough people at the bottom stop looking sideways and start looking up at the same time. They know that. That's why the noise never stops. That's why the fear never lifts. That's why the division never heals, and the outrage never finds its real target, and the game never changes, no matter who wins the election or what channel you switch to or which side of the divide you're standing on. So the most radical thing you can do in a system built on noise is get quiet, get still, ask the question, follow it wherever it goes. Don't stop when it gets uncomfortable. Don't stop when it implicates things you believed in. Don't stop when the answer is bigger and darker and older than you expected. The game was rigged from the start. If this made you think, if it made you question something you never questioned before, share it with someone who needs to see it. Not because this channel needs the numbers, but because the most threatening thing to a system built on division is people waking each other up. They're counting on you staying silent. Prove them wrong.